to you, and welcome to this week's edition of Business Ambassadors. You might have guessed our guest today is a harpist. I'd like to introduce Laura Hiner, and she's been playing the harp for a while. We're going to learn about that and see how the harp fits into our lives and how we can enjoy it and learn a little bit about her. So, Laura?
Yes.
How long have you been interested in music? Have you just picked this up? Or?
Well, since I was 1 or 2.
Wow.
My mother showed me how to play the piano, and
At 2 years old?
well, a little bit. And
well.
we sang. She taught me a lot of songs, a lot of singing, a lot of big repertoire.
Was your mom into music?
She played piano a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. So you play the piano and the harp. When did
Yeah.
you get interested in playing the harp?
About 10 years ago, I played other instruments, piano, guitar, fiddle, concertina, and I dabbled in some other instruments. And I played 4 Renaissance fairs, and I met someone who played the folk harp, like this. And I thought, let me try that.
Uh-huh.
So she explained a few things, and I kind of translated from piano to harp. So I knew the language of music, how it was put together. So I just learned another dialect. That's what I like to call it.
Now, as you mentioned that, I'm looking at this, and I think I'm not really knowledgeable about music, but it almost looks like a piano, the way the chords are and the shape.
Yeah.
Is there some, was that a reason, was there some connection that made it easy to make the transition to harp? Or?
Yes, because of my background in piano and music in general. It was. And then I did have a few formal lessons at Oberlin College in Oberlin, Ohio, where I attend summer school occasionally.
Uh-huh.
And that is the Scottish Arts Academy. So
Oh.
I'm trained in Scottish music on the harp.
Okay, I guess when we think of Scottish music, we think of the bagpipes, and this is
Quite a
a
difference.
bit more relaxing.
Yeah.
So, now you said what kind of harp this is?
This has several names. It's a folk harp, which means it's smaller than
Oh, okay.
the orchestral harp. And it's also called a Scottish harp, Celtic harp, Irish harp. And then this one is a lever harp, because you'll notice the levers here for changing the pitch. So right now I'm tuned to the key of G, which means I've engaged this lever to have an F sharp for the key of G. Now if I want to be in the key of C, then I don't need the F sharp. So it's not every key on the piano, every string is not every key on the piano, but it is if you engage the levers. So
Wow.
if you want the black keys, you use the levers. An orchestral harp has pedals at the back on the floor for that same method.
Well, it's
It's
a
a lot
lot
heavier.
easier to carry than a Steinway, I tell you.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. Now, you mentioned the different types of harp, Scottish, Irish, Celtic. So does that influence where you play the harp, or do you play other places as well?
I play at festivals, but also weddings, open house, museums, art auctions, funeral homes, baby showers,
Oh,
teas, banquets, a lot of different events. And I mostly play Celtic music, but I also can throw in a lot of old standards and some jazz and classical.
What would be a sample of Celtic music?
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Let's see here.
At least I have no idea. Maybe some of you all out there do.
This is a reel. Let's see if we're in the right key here. Celtic music and Irish and Scottish music, the tunes are named after the dances that they accompany. So if I say this is a reel, that means this accompanies the dance called the reel. Or the jig. I would play a jig. It means it accompanies the jig dance.
lively. So
Yeah.
when you play that, would there be other instruments? I could just see a violinist playing along with that as well. And
Yes, violin, flute, drum,
you have a regular old party going.
yeah. Yeah.
That sounds pretty interesting. So we know all the different areas that you can
Yeah.
play, the different types of music.
Yeah, and I do several weddings a year, and brides all have their own tastes, but usually they do like the Celtic music. As I have a basic package and a deluxe package. The basic package is pre-ceremony music while the guests arrive, and then it's for the bride to enter, maybe some of the wedding party to enter, and then the recessional where they all walk out. That's my basic package, and then I have a deluxe package where I will play also at the reception.
Okay.
And a lot of brides want the traditional "Here Comes the Bride,"
Yeah.
or a classical piece like a Bach.
Now, we've photographed a number of weddings where there were harps.
Ah,
And it is relaxing, it's nice background noise, it gets people in a good mood, so.
yes,
see that,
it
yeah.
is.
So you've played a variety of different things, you've studied a number of areas. Have you gotten any awards?
Yes, I've gotten awards in harp solo and singing in Gaelic, the Scots Gaelic, and awards in piano, also in Irish singing. So the competitions I've attended in the last several years have been at the Irish Fest or Irish Fesh or the Scottish Scottish Games.
Are any of these coming up soon where we might be able to see you?
I won't be there this year.
Okay. So we'll have
But
to
yeah.
look for next year.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to have you on next year again.
Yeah.
So, now, you're quite diversified, you know a lot about this. Do you ever have an opportunity to pass this knowledge on to others? Is it like,
A lot of my programs are educational. I explain about this harp and then harp music and the origins of some of the tunes that I play. Most of them are traditional, but there are background stories to the songs, especially the Scottish poet Robert Burns. That's not so ancient. And a lot of his songs have a nice story behind them.
okay, so do you, have you had an opportunity to be part of a music education class for kids in school, or?
I've done that a little,
Uh-huh.
yeah, and I've taught private lessons at my home studio,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And I was going to tell you something about this harp.
Yeah,
It was built by William Reese, who has a harp studio workshop in southern Indiana, Rising Sun, Indiana.
Oh, yeah.
It's called Harps on Main. And also a part of his business is called Harpsicle Harps, which describes a small lap harp, which is about that big when it's on your lap. But he used to be located in the west, Wyoming, I think. And then he decided to come to Indiana to be more centrally located.
uh-huh.
And this may be the largest harp he builds. So he builds all folk harps, and I like it because it has a really warm sound, and I like a lot of bass. So a smaller harp wouldn't have the bass strings here.
Okay.
But anyway, his harps have a wide box, which is this vibrating box here. So this was built by William Reese about 10 years ago, I think.
Okay. What kind of wood is it?
It is cherry, and then the soundboard is topped with pine.
Oh,
And the holes at the back, I might turn it around
Yeah, I
just to
see
show
those.
this. These are the sound holes, so This vibrates when we pull the string at a particular tension, and then the sound comes out the sound holes. I also have installed a pickup, a mic in the bottom, so if I plug that in, I can be connected to amps.
Oh, it's a lot more involved. When we see it, we just think it's a couple of strings, so there's a lot more to it. So, so you said you do a number of events, and you also do personal tutoring for those that want to learn the harp. Now, would that be the piano as well?
I don't do piano lessons anymore, but I started teaching piano lessons when I was 15. So for many years I taught piano and violin.
Oh.
But now I focus on the harp if I teach anyone.
Okay. So you still play the violin as well as the
Yes.
piano?
Yeah. Yeah.
Must keep you pretty busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Piano, I do big band swing, a lot of big band swing songs,
Huh.
and I sing, and classical.
So you got classical, you got big band, you got folk, you got Celtic, you got everything.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Well, if we need someone to do some musical entertainment or singing, you certainly got a diversified background
Yeah.
there. So great. Well, anything else that we haven't covered, Laura?
Did we say we could play all kinds of music on harp? It's not just fairy angel music. Jazz.
Yeah, that's a dim the lights and get a cocktail music.
Yeah,
That's quite
but
different.
this is a neat technique that I learned at one of the classes, which is called slap bass, which you see sometimes a bass player does. So the slap is part of the percussion. So anyway, that's a little technique there.
Huh. Well, who knew you could do so many different things with a harp
Yeah.
and imitate many
Well,
different
I
styles?
always say, as much fun as it is listening, it's more fun to be playing.
That's true. That's true of just about everything. So, well, to contact Laura, her information is on the bottom. If you want to know more about harps or tutoring or some of her upcoming events, just feel free to contact her right there, 919-3191. And she'll be glad to help you. And we appreciate her coming and teaching us a lot more about the harp. If anyone else has a talent or an item of interest you'd like to be on the show, feel free to contact me under the silver images, 317-374-1021. And that email on the right is the other company I work with, Primerica Financial Services, where we have been teaching people how money works so they can be debt-free for 40 years. In fact, we have our 40th convention coming up this year, 40th anniversary convention. Pretty excited about that. And one more thing about photography. On Monday, there's an open house that's not tonight, but a week from tonight, at Focus On Studios. So you can contact me down there and I'll give you the information. It's in Carmel. It's a great opportunity if you like to meet photographers or anything else. So we appreciate all that. Oh, one more thing. Christian would be upset if I didn't remind you Friday is a Power Circle meeting. So if you want to do some casual, informal networking, we meet at the First Merchants Bank on Cary Road in 32. And all of this is due to we show our gratitude for all of this to Jim Wofford for putting it together, for donating his time and his resources, and we appreciate his generosity. So we want to thank him and Logan Street Banners and Signs. Appreciate that. And that's it, folks. You have a great week.